everyone, and welcome once again to our SonRise Project call on this beautiful Sunday morning. I'm so honored and delighted that you all are here with me in this safe space that is filled with love and compassion and our mutual desire to heal our families and, most importantly, ourselves. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I am so excited today. It's like the Super Bowl is hit already. We have an incredible, incredible, incredible person here sharing her time and her space with us named Dre Brown. And she is such a delight. I just can't wait for y'all to hear from her. But let me tell you about her, a little bit about her before we get started. Driven to infuse each creative encounter with joy inducing laughter, this beautiful empowerment speaker, pro makeup artist, Dove beauty ambassador, who most recently partnered on the Dove My Hair, My Crown workshop curriculum, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit more. And she's a women's lifestyle entrepreneur. Dre Brown seeks to offer her clients and community both something for the eye and for the soul. This free spirit sees her approach to creatively contributing in and around content and curated experiences as a vehicle through which she promotes joy. In fact, I heard her say she's a joy chaser, but she promotes joy, self care, motivated creative passion, and wellness centered transformation. She has been featured everywhere: Paramount, MTV, BET, you name it, everywhere. And she is a regular and a guest. And she also works with celebrity talent, including Olympic gold medalist Gabby Douglas, recording artists K. Michelle and Jadena, actors Dominique Fishback, Tatiana Ali, Omari Harwick, and more and more and more. She is a gifted writer. She's a content creator. In fact, we talked about her first floor of her home has all these nooks and crannies for content creation, which is amazing. She's been giving me tips this morning already. And she has all kinds of editorial contributions to many, many places. I met her when I saw her speak and lead a conversation around self-confidence and beauty empowerment with our mutual client, Dove. And I saw her from afar and thought, who is that woman? She has this infectious smile, this wonderful laugh, this energy, and she effuses light and passion and a love of self. And that's what we're talking about this morning. So I'm so delighted to have with us here Dre Brown. Thank you so much for being here this morning on Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh my God, first of all, you just filled my cup like beyond with that.
Oh,
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be here. And yeah, this is my Super Bowl. I'm like, it's no secret. Dre doesn't really watch sports. You know, I'll do it for the culture,
mm-hmm.
but I don't really watch sports. So, but I love this. This is gonna be my Super Bowl today. I should have
Oh,
things right now, but I don't really eat chicken anymore. But you know what I mean. Um,
I do know what you mean. I do know what you mean. Well, this is our Super Bowl too. The people that come together, many are here every week. It's like fuel for the soul to come in a loving space where many of us are sharing similar journeys, and we know that we're not alone. And there's love and compassion. But I want to start with you. Can you share a little bit about your career journey? How did you get to where you are today? And what inspired you to be in this whole beauty and wellness space?
Well, thank you again. It is not, I'm not going to start on a cold winter's night in 1983. We're not going to go back there. That's where it all started. But we go fast forward. My career has had a very interesting trajectory. I'd say that I have, taken like the tilt-a-whirl direction because it's all over the place. But I started my career almost 20 years ago in television,
Mhm.
and I went to Howard University for media and
Ain't
journalism.
you? Ain't you?
I'm not, um, but I started my career there, and I started doing makeup then
Mm,
back then just as a creative outlet, and actually built community around it because I was friends with a lot of fine arts people and dancers and such.
mm,
But when I got to New York City, when I started my career in television, I started at Viacom. And I realized that I love television production. I love working behind the scenes, but also I like paying my rent. So I had to side hustle. So I took makeup and turned it into my side hustle. And while I was working in network television, I went from VH1 to MTV to Bravo,
Mhm.
and then finished my last TV position was at WeTV. So I matriculated through kind of like the lifestyle media space, but I was also having a second life as an artist, and those worlds often collided where I would find opportunities to kind of merge. So
Yeah.
in 2010, I was going through my own kind of beauty journey where I did my first big chop, and I had started blogging just because we get this. I would journal. I got a degree in journalism, and I have this skill, and
Mhm.
I was feeling like unsatisfied with the usage of it. So in like 2010, I just started blogging. I didn't think that was not trying to be an influencer or anything. I was just trying to
Mhm.
get my story out, not even knowing that anybody would look or read. And it led to me actually writing as a contributing editor for a beauty publication, online beauty publication. And I had a little column called Brown Girl Beauty, and I just was talking about what was going on with me living in Harlem with a big
Mhm.
going from people telling me, how you doing, beautiful, to peace queen, just because my hair changed, but that's another
That's a
Zoom.
whole nother
Woo,
talk.
that's another Zoom. But I was sharing that experience, and what I watched happen that I didn't know what happened was that I built a lot of community around that story, and that I got an
Mhm.
opportunity, I believe 2011, to actually bring that to life. And I went to LA and hosted an
Mhm.
experience where I got to curate pretty much the same conversations we were having online around beauty and wellness. And the bigger things that came out of it was the cultural conversation. So it was like the insecurity and the feeling of, whoa, I just chose to embrace something that is truly endemic and native to me, and now I feel like I'm naked standing in the middle of Times Square. What is that doing? So we had vulnerable, kind of candid discussions around that, and it felt really good, and it just was like a seed.
Mhm.
So I would
And that
say,
was around the big chop. That was the big right
yeah.
after the big chop in 2010, right? Is
Yeah,
that what
it
you
was
said?
like
Okay.
after that, it just opened up everything else. So I went, my body confidence journey started to be something that I opened up to the
Mhm.
world. And that
Mhm.
led to me leaving corporate in 2013 and just deciding that I wanted to be on both sides of my business, on the makeup side and the content creation side, but also on the side of being a thought leader and a voice, to just attach myself to things that I thought would forward stories that weren't being centered,
Mhm.
but also provide something empowering or something uplifting, as opposed to what was happening on television back then, where
Mhm.
we had an uprising of content that was showing women, especially Black women, you know, as contentious with each other, as opposed to loving and supportive, which I
Mhm.
knew was possible because I was having it in real life. But I was like, something's not matching. The math ain't
Right.
matching because the
Right.
TV telling us we don't love each other, and that we shaking tables and tossing each other,
Right.
over, and but
Pulling
I'm
hair, pulling each other's hair and
yeah,
all that.
all of that.
Mhm.
And then, but I'm not experiencing that. So I was like, I know it's for real. It's showing
Mhm.
up in my life, but I wanted to create
Mhm.
spaces where it could be amplified. So, yeah, that led me into continuing to tell stories, be, as a makeup artist, and work on projects, work with talent that really embrace their own natural beauty. And then also it led me to work with Dove starting in 2013. And now
Amazing.
this makes year 11
That's
almost, and we
incredible.
can keep this party going. So, sorry for the long
No,
narrative,
don't
but
be sorry.
there is
That's
a lot.
no,
There's
that's a lot, and it's been a beautiful journey, and I love how it's so divine. One thing leads to another, and I believe that everything is already planned for us, and so moving into that space, I love your thoughts on that. Like, what were some of your lessons along the way, key lessons
the
that you
thing
learned?
that you said where it's like it all comes together. Like, I
Yeah.
believe that anything that the universe orchestrates, it flows effortlessly towards you, even if
Yeah.
you're fighting against it. It's flowing like, I'm coming, honey. I'm gonna be all over you pretty soon. So the lesson I learned with the self love and kind of like just the self, almost like self identifying journey of turning the mirror on yourself and
Mm,
just really getting in tune with things, was that the more you love on yourself, the more your gifts open up. So it's
mm,
like when you are trying to align with a norm that isn't yours, like it's
right.
like what I tell the kids about beauty norms that they see that are narrow, where it's like, that don't look nothing like me, and you're still trying to align with it. It constricts you. It's almost like being in a tight seat. Nothing can stretch. Nothing can,
Mm,
be promoted or given the space to shine. Right. So the more
right.
I started to love on me, the more certain gifts started to come out, and I was like, I'm good at that. And
Yeah.
it was tough because we got to also reconcile. Like I had went to school for stuff, and I was like, I need to be using this degree, but my gifts were opening up in other ways, and I was like, but I feel so good, and people are telling me I should do more of that because it's so loving on me got me to be
Mm,
like, I like hanging with Dre when she feels this way, when she feels good
right.
about her, when she looking at her natural hair and like all of that. And then it
Mhm.
allowed me to not, these were non-tangible things. So when,
Yeah.
it wasn't about, oh, I just like looking at myself. It was when I feel full and good and comfortable, the stuff I get to do in the world is just like, for real. So I
Right.
just grew, I feel like I grew 5 inches and I got like superhuman strength. Like it just gives you a greater sense of capability that
Mhm.
you're not stressing about showing up. You're
Right.
in, you're full. So and you're showing up authentically. So it's like, okay, so let's get to work. Like what do we get
Right.
to do now? So I
Right.
would say the lesson was the more I got to love on me and accept her, I got to see what she had to offer.
And did you have help getting there? Because for so many of us, you know, it's a journey getting to that self love, right? And there's so many things that happen, whether it's childhood trauma or somebody says, you're fat or whatever it may be when you were in third grade that has stuck with you. Or with many of the people on this call, we're dealing with challenges with our children and trying to stay present and trying to focus on ourselves in the midst of what might be chaos in our spaces. So, did you have help getting to this space where you are? Um,
Mm,
can
yeah,
you share?
I don't do anything without community. I say like if community disappeared tomorrow, y'all might as well just, call whoever and tell them I'm coming home and tell them I'll be there in a little while because I'm done. Because really, I've never been able to do life without creating community, and that's my sauce. That's what
That's
I
your
lean
sauce.
into. But
Mhm.
what I did have, well, first of all, my mother basically affirmed me and my siblings from the time we were little to say, like, you are worthy in every room you are invited
Yeah.
into.
Wonderful.
So one thing I will say that I had help because I had foundational norms that let me know
Mhm.
like there are rooms that feel scary, don't feel familiar, you don't know what the food is
Yes,
going to be, you really feeling the music, but never question your worthiness being in that room.
that's right.
Like, so I used to go, and she's so sweet because she used to give us intros. Like, when you go in and you see the kids on the first day of school, you're going to wave like this and you're going to say, "Hi, everybody. My name is Andrea. I want to be friends." And I was like, once you do that a couple times and people scratch their head, it could be off putting, but it tells you, like, I was ready for y'all. Y'all might have not been ready for me, but I
That's
was
wonderful.
y'all. So
Yes,
I think just having the foundation of the help of knowing that every space you go into is waiting for you, whether you're ready or not. That was one thing. And then I feel like the better help was really letting people know what I was struggling with. So like
Mhm.
me writing and blogging it was not it was more for me than it was for the audience because I said I'm giving myself some accountability to these thoughts. So when I
Mm.
cut my natural, when I chopped my hair off and went natural, and I'm waking up every morning like, why did I do this? Or it's not vibing the way I wanted to vibe. I would talk about that experience because I knew if I'm going to stick to this, if I'm going to see this
Mhm.
through, I need somebody to hold me accountable. So that help of just telling other people when someone knows what you're trying to do, whether it is trying to build your self-esteem, trying to start a business, trying to lose weight, trying to, whatever, it makes you more accountable to because someone else is thinking about that vision, that goal.
Absolutely.
So I made my body acceptance and my self-esteem a community affair.
That's
I
fantastic.
needed their validation, but I wanted their support. because
Yeah,
I knew when I got there, we all gonna be good. Because when Dre's cup is full, the whole floor finna be wet because
that's
everything
awesome.
overflowing. So I think the help was just leaning on my folk, even if
Leading
that
into community, leading into your crew, your
coming
tribe.
into rooms like this, like
Mhm,
just saying, like,
mhm.
y'all, I got something, and you'd be surprised because some people are waiting on you to show up vulnerably so that they feel like they have permission to do that. And
Absolutely.
that turned into the work that I've been able to do is like, okay,
For all these
tell
years.
everybody my slip showing, y'all. And everybody get up and be like, mine too, girl. Tell it it's
Or
yours.
the spank isn't quite working properly. Might somebody help me? Right? We've all had those moments. That's awesome. So what I love about you, Dre, is every time I see you, you have this beautiful big smile on your face, and you're always laughing and helping to get other people to laugh, even if the conversation's difficult. Some of the work you've done with Dove around self-esteem and around body confidence is really can be really hard for some people, especially our young people. And so, how do you consistently show up with such joy and such a smile and such laughter? Um, how do you
Hmm.
keep it going, even if you're having a rough day, perhaps?
Well, I say, like, first of all, I think there's a difference between joy and happiness.
Yes. So say
And
more. Say more on that.
I feel that joy is something that you cultivate yourself in yourself, and happiness is circumstantial. It is,
Yes.
oh my God, I woke up and someone, the sun was shining. I'm happy about that. But
Right.
if you wake up and it's raining, you can still be joyful because that's a choice. That's something that you get to give yourself. That's my I don't have scientific proof of that. That's my belief structure. So when it comes to it, it's like I say that I'm a joyful risk taker.
Mm,
That I feel like life sometimes puts you in buildings that catch on fire. And when you are standing on that window ledge and you have no choice to jump out of it, you can jump out in fear and loathing, or you can
mm,
jump out in joy. But your behind got to jump out no matter what, because the
right.
fire is coming.
Right.
So I always say, like, what parachute are you gonna pack? Because you got to get to
Mhm.
the ground some kind of way. So
Right.
it's almost like a challenge to find that, and the root of that is gratitude. So my thing is like, for
Gratitude.
me, joy and gratitude are they the best play cousins.
Mhm.
Gratitude comes out of, like, you if you really think about the thing how things could be, or you take inventory of your surroundings. The joy comes out of being like, oh, you know what? I was tripping. Sometimes that's the little bit. It doesn't have to be like brimming. I'm a natural optimist. I suffer from severe anxiety. So there are times when I have to joy myself out of panic. You
Mm.
know, and my support
Mhm.
system, my people, my sister is on this call right now. Like, there are people who are here that know that side of it. So please don't get it twisted. Dre, you might see Dre and all the time she's laughing and smiling. That's not that's about 80%. But the 20% when I have to use my tools, like I
Yes.
told my family this morning before I got up here, I woke up, my dog been sick. There was some stuff that happened overnight, but I had to use my tools. I had to stop and say, Dre, before you go, and you allow your energy to go somewhere else, look around and see, what do you have that you can do to create some peace in this moment.
Mhm.
And I use my tools, and then I came downstairs and I'm talking to y'all.
That's
So what
beautiful.
I think is the joy of it is I get joyful that I have those tools and that they are always readily available to me.
And those tools, what are those tools? What
So
exactly?
one
Give
is
us a
I do my gratitude accounting, which you do
Okay.
not have to be good at math. It's just adding and subtraction. So, some people use a journal and do it. Some
Mhm.
people do it in their head. But it's like, if you have 5 minutes to just survey, okay, I woke up and my body is operating
Yes.
with no pain.
Mhm.
I called a family member that hadn't been feeling well, and they were on fire. They were popping. Woo.
Mhm.
Um, I my this what I'm grateful for this morning. I watched my dog go from being
Yeah.
sick and scary on Tuesday to yelling at strangers off the balcony this morning. And that to me, I have joy for, because
Yeah.
that shows me that transformation is not out of business, right?
Mhm.
So I do my auditing, I mean, I audit my moment and say, okay, Dre, do you have the space in your budget to be pissed off right now? Do you have the space in your budget to, have a woe is me moment? Because right now,
Mhm.
the gratitude is leaning a little bit heavy
That's
on.
right. That's right.
Um, but I think when you do that, you get so much better at doing that check-in, to where it becomes like a second, you almost become a human joy calculator,
I
you know,
love
like a
that. A
gratitude
human
calculator.
joy calculator. That's
You know
fantastic.
what I'm saying? We you the house of joy, so we gonna
Yeah.
bring it every.
Yes. We
Um,
try to bring it all the time and
and
have
you
it be
do.
authentic joy. That's
You,
the key because we can show up. I had somebody tell me once that they thought I had toxic positivity, which was
you
true.
too. They said,
Yes, and it was also in this book I'm reading right now. I read it as I was listening to it on the plane yesterday. I thought somebody told Tabitha she had toxic positivity, and that whole perspective is around,
oh,
I
this
view myself as an optimist, the same way you view yourself. And we have a choice.
friend,
We have a choice
and
of
you
how we
have to learn
respond and how
how
we
you
show
speak
up.
over these people. My sister is in the chat talking about, wow, because she knows this same thing was said to me.
Right?
And at that moment, I had a choice.
Yes.
Because my thing is, like, we have to really, this is
Yeah.
why I love that we're talking about self-love, because self-love is your
Mm.
armor. This world is going to try you.
Yes.
Self-love is your armor, because honestly, if you are in the depths of the vulnerability with yourself, to see
Hmm.
yourself as clearly as possible, you know when people lying to you.
Yes.
So when they
Absolutely.
speak over you and they say something that is not connecting to what you know your human love-driven nature is, friend,
Hmm.
you be like Tabitha said when I saw her speak last month. She said, I don't worry about what nobody say about me,
Right.
because she didn't spend the time getting,
Comfortable with
I like to
self.
say, me and myself, we go together. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I'm writing Dre's name on my jeans. I'm wearing Dre's jacket after school. We go together, go together.
I love
But
that
when
we
you
go
need
together.
that, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm.
the relationship with you, that's the longest relationship you will have in your life.
Yes.
Not your husband, your sister, your daddy, your mama. Nobody will have a longer relationship with you than you.
Mm. Mm. I
And
love that. That's
th-
self-love.
that
That's that body armor. Someone just put in the chat. Self-love is our
is
armor. That's so
because people will
true.
try to cover you with prescriptive beliefs that they are shaping around who you are.
That's
And
right.
you have to be like, John, because my mama say, don't eat from everybody's house. I'm sorry, thank you for bringing that casserole, man, but we good over here. I'm
Oh gosh.
not eating everybody's food.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I'm
Right.
saying? Because you don't know
Yes.
everybody's kitchen ain't clean.
Correct. That part right there.
Come on. But this is what I mean, in the sense of, we have to
Mhm.
be full enough that when people try to pour something else in our cup that is toxic, there's no room, because it's full of what we already know is
Mm. That's
our
right.
love for who and what we are, and also our love for the process we're in. We ain't
Yes.
finished. So I'm sorry you met
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
on day 2 of 500, but on
Yeah.
day 300, don't think that I'm going to be the same person you met on day 2. We're not. It's not the same.
No. And other people labeling us without, I mean, that's their challenge, right? That's their issue. And looking at us as negative. And that's true for anybody on this call. It's like, I love what you said, like stepping into ourselves, loving ourselves. And we have the relationship. This is the longest relationship we'll ever have, is with ourselves. I think, gosh, it takes many of us many years to get to that point where it's like, okay, this is what I need to be doing here, is focusing on self. And when we focus on self, everything around us starts to change because we've changed. And
And
that
you
is
give
a
people
big
a
epiphany.
beautiful example to follow.
Yes, you do
I talk
that.
a lot about what my mother says, because I hear
Yes.
her, even though she don't think I listened all these years, but she say, you teach people how to treat you. If you loving on you with such excellence, there is
Mm,
the learning curve for somebody else to love you that way.
mm,
It's going to be very flat, because they have a beautiful example to follow.
that's right.
Then it makes you a loved, well-loved people love well. If
Yes.
you are loving on you, guess how, girl, you're gonna love on
Yes.
somebody and you're gonna be like, I really didn't want this person to stick around, but I just love them so good. I got a few people that's hanging out
Yes.
the front door.
I love that.
That's how community actually gets started, that you love on people so good. They be like, what you doing tomorrow? And you be like, I didn't realize I got new people, but I guess I loved on them so good. They don't
And
want
you're
to go
like, come
nowhere.
on over.
They don't
Come
want
on.
to go nowhere. What you doing tomorrow? That's what that's how I feel. I always say, when people be like, no new friends, I don't like that. The
You
reason I
like
don't
having
like
the new
it, like,
friends, but you have that energy. You have
because I
energy.
think we don't know what we need till we get it. So if there are people out there that are literally the piece you've been missing, why would you reject that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Why would you just gatekeep your own possibility by being like, I don't need people or I don't need no new people?
Right.
And
That's
I'm
an interesting thought because I think sometimes I'll just play devil's advocate. I have done that in the past where the reason has been I'm so tired or I just, my cup is pouring over. No, no more. Like I need to really say no. And sometimes up until now, because I love what you're saying, sometimes it's like, no, I don't need more friends. I can barely keep up with my current friends. I can barely find time to see people. In fact, my one of my friends from kindergarten was texting me this morning. Kindergarten, 50 something years ago. And I
come
haven't
on.
seen her in probably 15 years. And so that's my point. It's like I want to see my kindergarten friend, that has been my friend for all these years.
My best
Versus,
friend I've been friends with since kindergarten too. We're
yeah. But
year
then
mate.
you start bringing in new people. How do you find the time to do all of it?
Well, it's not about finding the time, it's about making the intention behind being open to community. It's
That's
not
so
on
good.
you to
That's it.
make it happen. The universe will do the work for you. I think you just have to show that you're intentional about wanting it. Like I tell everybody, everybody knows my journey. I'm single, and I have me and my sister. She workshops me because she is one of my biggest like mental health supporters, and you know we talk about it like, what are you calling into your
Mm.
space? So
Mm.
for me, my whole thing is I don't sit up there and say no new friends. Like every person I meet, I'm like, okay, now we got to plan a brunch and all of that. It's more about telling the universe, I am open to
Oh,
you sending whoever has some water from my seeds.
yes.
I'm open to that. And I
Mhm.
know that and we have to, because all of it is rooted in scarcity. If we feel scarce in any part of our world, there's never enough time, there's always too many people, there are too many obligations. That's the dialogue. But if
Yes.
we're like, you know what? I want to be infinite in my life, even though my life won't be infinitely long. I want to be infinite in
Mhm.
and how I chase my best life.
Mhm.
So if you think that I need new people, you'll make space for them. I just have to be open to it because
Open.
we will put our blinders on to so many things to protect ourselves and to replenish ourselves. You say, I'm tired. I know that. Be like, friend, I ain't got it. I ain't got it. So I am so there with you. It's too much. Sometimes just showing up for the people that you really want to show up for can be exhausting, which
Right.
means that it doesn't have to be perpetual. You just need to make sure the intention is always there. But please believe that taking siestas from social like obligations is never a bad idea.
I love that.
Your
See,
people will
that's
be
from
waiting.
social.
Yeah, they'll be waiting for you on the other side.
That's right.
You
That's
know?
right. It's so ironic that you talk. I love what you're saying. This morning, my friend Susan gave me this book. It's like a daily calendar. And today it says for February 11th, it says, every thought, every idea, every being, everything is vibrational. So when you focus your attention on something, even for a short period of time, the vibration of your being begins to reflect the vibration of whatever you are giving your attention to. It's what you just talked about. The more you think about it, the more you vibrate like it. The more you vibrate like it, the more of that which is like it is attracted to you. That trend in attraction will continue to increase until a different vibration is offered. And then things that match that vibration are drawn to you, by you. That's what you just talked about. I just think it's deep.
I if you don't get what you like, my social media manager is a magical young lady, and she posted the other day on her page, you don't get what you ask for, you get what you believe.
Yes.
And your mind is the source of those
Mhm.
vibrations, right? So it's like,
Yes.
and I am guilty of this because sometimes I will say things. I have to self-talk is woo, she is crafty
Mhm.
and slick with it.
Mhm.
So I will find myself, I will workshop my own self in the moment when I say something. I'm like, ooh, ooh, universe, I take that back because I
Mhm.
believe that our words become currency where the
Yeah.
universe is like, oh, you want to put a down payment on another week of hell? Okay, I got you. Because I don't believe the universe sees good and bad. I think it's almost like when you have children and they all yours, you like, oh, I know that one set something on fire and that one, just make cookies for a school. But they all good to me. So I believe that energetically, we have to just say, "Oh yes, I got a question. Oh, I see the poll coming up. Yes, I am. I'm going to answer the poll." But yeah, like what I like in those moments, it's like you really do see that you ever wanted a parking spot so bad, start
Mhm.
law of attraction in it, and you like
Yeah.
coming and you pull up and it's right out front.
Right
I don't
there.
think those things are by chance, but I really do think that we can believe ourselves into a life we love or out of a life that we could possibly have.
Mm.
And I just, I am recklessly audacious about my vision. And I am like, the audacity I have to believe what I see in my head is foolish. It is so insane.
I love
And
that.
I don't need you to understand it. I just need you to know that it's never going away. So with that, that's why you asked what's the source of the joy. I believe that I can be joyful just that much. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden there's the doorbell ringing like an Amazon delivery man, and here goes some more joy.
There you go.
I
The
do
new
get a lot of
opportunity.
Amazon packages though. So yeah.
You said you don't like Amazon packages?
No, I say I do get a lot of those. So, that also makes me joyful.
Right. I do too. I love the deliveries. I see a hand up. I'd love
Yes.
for Jules, if you want to come off of. Yes, there you are. Good morning.
Good morning. I am just getting so much joy out of this conversation this morning. And I just wanted to really elevate what you were saying because, especially your point about well loved people love well. I thought that was such an amazing quote because oftentimes we're in spaces where folks are going through a lot of things and we ourselves are going through a lot of things. And I just remember when I'm not in the best space, it's when I'm not feeling the most positive. But what I've learned through the years, when I've entered spaces, and I'm a pretty optimistic person as well, and you're like, what is this dark cloud over someone that's going through? And how do we elevate their spirit a little bit or send some positive vibrations? And it really goes back to a lot what you're saying. And I often wait and whisper in their ears. I'm like, listen, the energy, here's my prayer for you. The energy with you, let it come out, let it emanate from you in a positive way because you're attracting. So right now, if you're not in a good space, what can we do to help you get in a better space? What 5 minutes or what a few minutes do you need to like self reflect and go into a space, pray or do whatever you need to do? Because right now, the toxicity or whatever else is just coming out. And I know that's not what you want to attract. And there are times when I've whispered it because, again, I'm not a very big know it all person. I'm very like, the more I learned about myself, the more I'm able to go, like, oh, this person is really in a bad space. And sometimes tears come immediately. Sometimes it's just a hug. Sometimes it's a thanks for just giving me a heads up on that. And so I just sent again today's message at sunrise to four of my friends who have been in a really, really tough spot. And so they're on here this morning. And I just want to say, that's what I was talking about, y'all. They doing it all right here.
Hey,
It was a
friend.
really good choice. So have a
Awesome.
Hey,
good
friend.
So
And
awesome. Thank you, Jules, for sharing that. Appreciate you.
I'm peeping in the chat. They're saying Octavia shared a Black female comedian from The Daily Show promoting her book. She said her friends told her she was often mean to others because she was mean to herself, and her friends' meaningful words pushed her into therapy. Yeah, I mean, your people know when you are
Mhm.
operating below your highest vibration.
Yes.
And I say people who really, really are attached to you, they're your folks, they're the account. Remember, I say accountability. They're the people who
Mhm.
say, like when I'm showing up in ugliness, which may not be often, but trust me, it happens. And I got
Mhm.
family on this call that will they be the ones that see it, right? And when it comes, I know it's something that I want my folks to tell me because I already know I'm there and I'm not
Mhm.
happy about it. And I
Mhm.
don't feel good
Mhm.
about it because once you've experienced yourself in joy and fullness and acceptance, when the world or whatever is happening tries you and pulls you out of that, you still have a point of view to see where you shifted from. So
Right.
it's almost like I know I can get back there. I just need to. I got a little lost on the journey.
Yes.
My
Yes.
GPS, it ran out of batteries or whatever.
Yes.
And so I think it's important, like you said, I love how you were like, I whisper it because I'm loud. I've been loud since 1986. Been loud. I got sent home from school just talking too much, being too loud. I was a high school cheerleader. I never knew how to not have a megaphone. But there are
Mhm.
some things like that, even when they're delivered in the softest, gentlest, delicate way, it still has impact. And I love that because that's grace. Because when someone's in their place where they are not on their highest energy and maybe they're not showing up the best way that they want to, they don't need you to hit them over the head.
Right. They
They're
don't.
already probably beating themselves up. So
Mhm.
sometimes delivering it soft but firm in the sense of it's clear, but you ain't got to yell. You don't have to berate someone. They're already probably feeling the weight of their own, self criticism.
Mhm.
So I appreciate you, Jules, for saying like you whisper it because even though it's softly given, they hear it. They just may need to hold it until the noise that's taking them out of their highest vibration calms down. And what's going to be waiting for them is what you shared.
That's
And they're
right.
going to be like, oh, I'm so glad I turned that foolishness down. I can finally hear Jules. She knows what she's talking about, girl. Where we
That's
going to eat?
that's right. That's
Come
right.
on.
That's
I
exactly
appreciate you, Jules. That's the community I'm talking about, where your friends be like, girl, I didn't talk to you all week. You need to be on this call. I know you ain't doing nothing. Get out the bed. Turn
right.
the camera
Roll
off.
over,
You ain't
click on
gotta
the
go.
link.
I
That's
love it.
right.
I
That's
love it.
right. And so many people on this call, some are new, some have been here for 3 years every Sunday. So it's a community and such a safe space. And that's what it's all about. I want to ask you, Dre, what is coming up for you? What's next on the horizon? What are you excited about?
Ooh, I have made this year. I've made some. I say they big, ugly, funky, nasty goals, like them ugly ones you can't hide with a sheet in the garage. You can't.
Yes.
Too big and they too funky and big and just obnoxious.
Awesome.
So I have a lot of big goals, but the nearest thing that's new for me, I've been working on a project for about 4 years that came to me. It just landed on my heart. I wasn't sure what it was going to be. So when I got the idea in 2020, I just trademarked it and started just noodling it, but I wasn't sure how that was going to arise. And I launched it this past week. It's called
Okay.
While You Were Leaping. And it is my platform that's dedicated to centering stories that aren't often told about dream chasing and achieving. A big thing in the communities that I serve I'm surrounded by these extraordinarily well achieved people, right? And I get to talk to a lot of people who, admire folks like that, follow them on Instagram and on social media, and they just look at them like they are unicorns. And I remember I was with a friend and she was observing someone that she really admired, a hardworking person
Mhm.
of that she really admired. And we're both watching this together, and she leans over to me and she says, "We don't deserve her." And I
Mm,
grabbed her hand and I stopped her and I said, "There is no one in this world
mm,
that you are not worthy of.
right.
You don't know what they do when they are not shining to give you what you believe is just so impossibly attainable for a
Mhm,
lowly human like you, right?"
mhm,
And so when
mhm.
I created While You Were Leaping, I have a community of really amazing people, and I know their valleys, but their bios don't show that.
Right.
So this is a leap year, 366 days to get it done, y'all.
Okay.
February 29th, which is the actual leap day of the leap year,
Mhm.
I will be launching an IG Live series that I'll be curating, that I'm inviting the people that are coming through. When I tell you, like, I call them leapers because they're people who have shown that they are not afraid to joyfully risk, whatever, to jump into their best life, their higher vibration, their happiness, their, the ideal job, the ideal relationship, the ideal health, whatever it is.
Mm.
So I'll be sitting down with some folks and we're going to be going live and just talking about, I say we're going to be going beyond the bios, because you can Google anybody you
Beyond the
want to Google,
bios,
and
that part.
you can read all the articles
Mhm.
and look at all the accolades, and that's gorgeous. But I said, don't be coming up here if you're not going to tell us something that is not in those beautifully well crafted, polished lines that your publicist crafted so beautifully. We need to know what you were doing when you were flying through the air, that proverbial window that I talk about. What were you doing to keep your mind, keep your peace, keep your joy, keep your family together, keep
Mhm.
your pockets together, all of those
Mhm.
things? Because though we meet ourselves in the meantime. We don't just develop these well accomplished lives. We get some work gets done in those valleys. And so
Yes.
I think so often they're talked about with a negative or almost like a foreboding energy, and I don't receive that. So
No.
I say we're going to be talking about the laughs and the lessons from the dream chase. So
Absolutely.
what we gonna laugh, we gonna hear some stuff. I talk about, so for me personally, when I left corporate in 2013, I had about 6 months of savings in the bank.
Mm.
That's a lie for all of y'all out there. 6 months is about 72 days.
Okay.
Savings when that money is real. So what I learned very early is that I was jumping into this bigger life and this has now been 11 years ago, but I wasn't all sure all the time of how I was going to sustain my lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I did everything from freelancing at the auto show to I was a mayonnaise ambassador at Whole Foods for this
Okay. That's
mayonnaise
awesome.
company. And it was like, I just tell people, and they're like, "Dre, why would you tell people that? Like, you be on stage at Essence, you in Black Enterprise, da, 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 da." I'm like, yeah, and I'm in your local Whole Foods trying to get you to buy this mayonnaise. It's organic.
Your bills to pay. It's
And
still organic. Oh,
because bills don't care that you jumping out a window and trying to live your best life. Bills don't care about that.
right.
And my sister's in the chat, true
A
story.
true story. I
He
love
is
it.
not lying. And but what I learned about myself is so crazy, because while I was doing that, I was not joyful. I was ducking behind, stacks of cantaloupes to avoid people I knew, because I did not want people to see me.
I
They were like, Dre started a business, but why is she in a green apron by the frozen foods? Like,
Mhm.
I didn't know how I was going to explain that identity to
Mhm.
somebody. But then what I realized in that
Mhm.
process was I don't need to explain to you who knew me, because guess what? By the time I'm finished, I'm gonna be a different person. You ain't gonna recognize me anyway.
Right. And you don't owe an explanation anyway.
I don't.
You
And
learn.
but we
Mhm.
learn from
Mhm.
those feelings, because I was worried that what if people think that because I'm in here, I ain't really legit in my business, or I'm really not doing
Mhm.
it. And all of those conversations are the ones that give you the humility and the self and like the introspection to really say, if I want this, I gotta be okay with who I have to be to get it.
That's right. That's right.
So
Mm,
while you were leaving is
that's
coming. So in a couple
while
of
you were leaping, and it's an Instagram live. Instagram live.
Yeah, so if you follow
That's
at
awesome.
While You Were Leaping on Instagram, we are going live. The first interview will be on February 29th at 8 p.m. Eastern. Stay
Awesome.
tuned because I will be announcing in the next week or so who that guest will be, but you will be, whoo! Y'all, these are folks that I know got some stories to tell, and they are just as audacious as me.
Is that
Yes,
correct? While you
yes,
were,
you dropped the chat. Thank you.
of course, while
Yes,
you were leaping on
yes.
Instagram. So if
Thank you.
anybody's on the phone, it's while you were leaping. That's the Instagram handle.
Yes.
Yes, and
Oh,
it's
and my sister
in
to the
here
picture.
too. Awesome. Thank you.
This is when you know your people are like, yeah, I'm gonna just drop it so y'all
That's
know. Thank you
awesome.
so much.
Yeah. No, it's so great. Oh, and that's at the underscore
Oh
Dre.
yeah, and my handle there as
Mhm.
well. The
Yeah,
underscore.
it's in the chat as well. I want to say, before we run out of time, I want to make sure that if anyone else wants to ask a question or comment, you can. You can come off of the phone. If you're on the phone, hit *6. If you're here on Zoom, you can also just hit the unmute button if you'd like to ask Dre a question or if you have a comment for her this morning. I am filled to the brim and so excited to have you here sharing and dropping all these gems with us today. Does anyone have a question or a comment for Dre this morning?
I want to know what y'all eating tonight. Who
I
cooking
haven't.
for the game?
Don't ask me. There's nothing in the refrigerator right about.
Oh, so
Gotta
great.
go to the store. Gotta go to the store.
Yeah, but no, I am so grateful. This is so needed, and
Absolutely.
I want to give you all the kudos for creating this space, because I told so many of my friends who are really in places with their families and their kids, especially coming out of the pandemic.
Mhm.
And I get a lot of calls, and I am not a mother, but I believe that the legacy that I seek to build is by giving young people tools that no one can take away.
That's
And
it.
the big thing with, loving on your kids and showing them we are our kids' best examples, or the young people that we serve, we are their best examples for self-love, because even before they discover the people that these stars and celebrities and things, y'all are the sun and the moon, and they are really governing how they see themselves through how you show up, appreciating yourself. I think there's somebody with their hand.
Heidi. Hey, Heidi. Good morning.
Morning. Hi, Dre. I just want to say thank you for what you have shared this morning. It is affirmation and confirmation of something I heard yesterday. And there was a pastor and he was preaching. He was like, do not discount your value. You are invaluable. And I think so often we allow the messages that we hear from other people to say, you're not worth it. You're not good enough, but you are perfectly and wonderfully made in God's image. And so
Mhm.
how can you discount that? How can you say that's not enough? And I think if we just can continue to pour into ourselves and say, I am enough, just the
Mhm.
way I am. And so I just want to thank you for all that you have shared this morning, and to say thank you to Kelli for keeping this going. I'm so glad I could be here and listen in this morning. So thank you.
Happy to have you.
I'm so grateful that came full circle for you, because I love that. I love when something that we hear, or like Jules said earlier, something that gets like just delicately whispered in our ear, then comes full circle for us, because I believe that's the universe saying, like, I'm gonna tell you once, I'm gonna tell you again. And I think our best life chases us. And if you just look over your shoulder every once in a while, you'll see it in the rear view, and it's not there to do anything but propel you forward into a space where you feel your best, you feel your fullest, your gifts shine. Like, I think at the end, the last thing I'll leave y'all with when it comes to self-love is there's so many things that we elevate about self-love that are aesthetic. And
Mhm.
what I believe is the aesthetics really minimize the power of self-love, because in this body are so many
Mhm.
things that get to be shown up in the world for the greater good of the world, not just for us to feel our best. And so what I want to challenge everyone here to do is to say, if there is something that loving on you is holding you back from contributing, Because sometimes people won't do work until they think it helps somebody else. They won't do it for themselves. They won't do it just because it's just for GP because it's a good idea. They will do it when they think that somebody else needs it more than they do. So if for no other reason, do two things today. Give thanks to your body for bringing you this far, because this is the body that brought you to whatever, to February 11th, 2024. If it don't look like you want it, don't matter. She still, or he still brought you here. If it does, if it's a little rickety-tickety, these knees are subject to change. It still brought you here. And so I just challenge people to do that. One, give thanks. And then see, just like we were talking about Tabitha earlier, do something new. Challenge yourself to do something new with the body that you have today. Even if you need to coach yourself into loving it more. Just challenge yourself to do something new with it. Because the more you learn how to do things with how you're designed, the more you'll appreciate your design.
I love that. We were talking about that Peloton that's in the shot that I haven't been on in a minute or two. So I'm gonna get on it today. But I want to say something. There's a question. It's a really great question. What tips do you have, Dre, for taking care of ourselves on Valentine's Day, which might be a tough holiday for some? It's right around the corner, Wednesday.
Yes. First of all, every day can be Valentine's Day. Let's not let the color red and an abundance of sweet tarts in the aisle at the Target get you messed up, right? So the one thing I will say is, if Valentine's Day is the day that you try on your new self-love practices, let's make that the beginning of the rest of your life. So two things is build loving structures into your day-to-day. There's a couple things I do that I live alone. And sometimes it gets very lonely. I have a dog who loves on me beautifully, but things like I had to challenge myself to enjoy my own company and enjoy like things that I appreciate that I want to have with my partner. So I have a dining room table. I'm going to sit at that table. Yes, there are 4 other chairs that are unoccupied, but guess what? I am grateful that I am blessed to have this table. So I sit at it and I eat my meal, even if I'm eating alone, because one day there will be company there. But I need to enjoy this meal and this moment by myself. So one day, build some self-love structures or rituals, and take yourself outside. Get out of that house, stand in the sun, walk around, smile at somebody, and guess what? They might smile back. And do these things. These are very small things, but what they do is they give us access to energy. And the more like we get outside of this, our own little cocoons that protect us from whatever is out there in the world, we might find you might find your Valentine just when you're out there expressing love in that way. So I'll challenge to do those two things, because that's what I'm doing. I mean, I got Valentine's cards from my sister-in-law sent me a Valentine, my mom. I think that we need to tap and spread love to the people who are just there all the time, who are always in that Valentine's inbox, and remind them that we are grateful. And that's what I would say. Those are some ways that we can show up for ourselves on Wednesday. And if you need a little bit more, DM me. I sent you the thing. Slide in my DM. Say, Dre, I need a message. I need you to love on me. I'll tell you how fine you are. You know what I'm saying? I'll be like, girl, I'll tell you. I'll give you what you need, and I won't lie to you. I won't. So you can slide. Go ahead and slide.
Looking good in the sweats. Looking good in the sweats. In the hoodie.
I'm loving it. I ain't never look. That's the outfit. That's the uniform.
That is the uniform. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I love all of these tips. This has been so it has filled my cup so amazingly this morning. I am so grateful and honored to have you here. I've watched you, from afar all these years and been in the same space and many, many, many times, but never had the pleasure, such an immense pleasure of having a conversation and hearing about your incredible journey. And
won't be the last, Miss Kelli.
It will not be the last. It will not be the last. It will not be the last. And so much more to come. I'm excited to support While You Were Leaping on February 29th. And anything and everything you do, we are here. Our village is here to support.
I will be back. I'm so grateful for these calls, and I can't wait to join again. So don't act like y'all don't know me when I be like, Jules, what you doing, girl? I see y'all. Don't be.
You know,
Don't
we are planning a SonRise retreat. It is coming. We are getting the dates together and the locations together. We've been talking about this for over a year. It is happening finally. So it is going
Oh,
to be
I'm pulling up. I'm pulling up.
yes, we
I'm pulling
welcome
up.
you. It'll
Oh,
be
it's gonna
somewhere
be
warm and fun.
Oh,
Mhm.
I have to make you laugh. Listen, when I was single, every Valentine's Day, I started to get a full body massage and get facials and deep tissues for myself. And it's because physical touch is one of my love languages. And then when I got with someone, I continued that practice. And so what I learned is I can make myself feel good and enjoy myself by myself. So by the time
Mm.
I got with someone, I was like, no, this is what I want you to do. And so I just want to throw that out there because it was a single woman in me that started to do that. And it has been something that I have kept up. And so I just want to throw that out there in the space, sisters, because it just makes a huge difference. And it doesn't matter what's going on. Anything else we do is going to be after I take care of myself. So I wanted to throw that in that space.
I love it.
And I can't wait for the SonRise retreat. So please send that information.
We all trying to come to the cookout.
We all trying to come to the cookout. Absolutely. We are all invited to the cookout and we will be sending out the information hopefully in the next couple of weeks, but it will be this summer and we're planning on doing 2. So we're excited about that. I am just grateful. You talk about writing our gratitudes. I literally just pulled out my journal and that is going to be something I do today for myself as well. It is super helpful. We have 1 more minute. Does anyone have any last comments? Or Dre, would you like to share any last thoughts?
You guys, I'm so grateful. This has been amazing. This is such a way to start a week. So Kelli, again, thank you for creating this space. Thank you for everyone who comes here every week. You are doing yourself a great service this is self-love. It's showing up and being a part of this community. So thank you for inviting me. We go together now.
We go together now. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Thank you for being here. I'm going to close us out with a super quick prayer for this Sunday. Just to take a moment to say thank you, Heavenly Father, for allowing Dre Brown to be with us this morning and spread so much joy. Thank you for reminding us that we can all choose joy. We have the power in ourselves to love ourselves unconditionally, love ourselves fully, and to take care of ourselves so that we can love around us and we can accept the love that we are all worthy of. Help us to remind ourselves that we are worthy, that we are made in your vision, in your eyes. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you all so much.
Y'all take care of yourselves.
Yes, take care of ourselves. That is the goal for today and for next week and for always. And Dre, thank you so much for being a light.
My pleasure. Thank you guys so much.